My wife texted, moved out. My yoga instructor is my soulmate now. I responded, Namaste. Then I called his wife to let her know what her husband had been doing during private sessions. Suddenly, my wife was calling me to take her back. I, 38 male, Walter, got a text from my wife of 10 years, Lauren, 35, a few hours ago. The morning was so normal it was almost forgettable. I made coffee, she mentioned, for the third time this week. That I'd bought the wrong brand of almond milk, the usual low-level friction of a long marriage. I left for my job as a data analyst. At 11:17 a.m. my phone buzzed. Lauren, I've moved my things out. I'm sorry to do it this way, but I've found my soulmate. Kyle is my twin flame, and we're starting our real lives now. I hope you understand. Kyle, her yoga instructor, a man who unironically uses the word synergy, and whose serene smile always seemed a little too practiced. For a decade of my life, the good and the bad, the final punctuation was a text message. My first feeling wasn't rage, it was quiet. The entire office, the hum of the servers, the frantic clicking of my colleagues' keyboards, it all just receded into a dull, distant roar. I stared at the text, twin flame, a phrase she'd picked up from a podcast last month. I took a sip of my cold coffee, the bitter taste grounding me. Then I typed back one word, me, namaste. I blocked her number. It felt less like an act of anger and more like an act of sanitation. Then, I did what I do for a living. I gathered data. A quick search for Kyle Vance Yoga led me to his wife, Judith Vance. She's the founder of a very successful chain of artisan bakeries. Her professional bio on a business site had a gushing line about her husband Kyle, whose spiritual guidance was a cornerstone of her work-life balance. I found the number for her corporate headquarters easily. I stepped into a small, glass-walled conference room and dialed. Judith Vance speaking. Her voice was exactly as you'd expect. Crisp, efficient, and slightly impatient. Ms. Vance, my name is Walter. I apologize for the cold call, but I believe we have a mutual interest. Okay, she said. The word was heavy with suspicion. My wife Lauren has been taking private yoga sessions with your husband Kyle, I said, keeping my voice as level as a sheet of ice. She informed me via text message about an hour ago that she has left me for him. She called him her soulmate. They have apparently moved in together to start their real lives. The silence on the other end was profound. It wasn't shocked or hurt silence. It was the sound of a powerful engine shutting down to divert power elsewhere. I see, she finally said. Her voice had dropped, losing its corporate polish and gaining something much harder. Thank you for this information, Walter. You have my condolences and my gratitude for your directness. I will handle this. She hung up. I went back to my desk. I stared at a spreadsheet detailing quarterly projections, but the numbers were just meaningless squiggles. A part of me, the part that hadn't been cauterized by the shock, felt a deep, hollow ache. I remembered assembling our IKEA bookshelf on our first anniversary, laughing so hard we almost broke it. I had loved her, or I had loved the idea of her I'd held on to for 10 years. I took that ache, that memory, and mentally filed it away. Sentimentality was a luxury, and I had a feeling I was about to go into debt. I went home at lunch. Half her clothes were gone. Her collection of mismatched, artsy mugs was missing from the cupboard. The air in our home felt thin, diluted. I'm sitting on the couch now, typing this. The title is just a title. I doubt a woman like Judith actually owns a baseball bat, but based on the steel in her voice, she's the type of person who could accomplish the same effect with a well-worded email. I guess I just have to wait. Update 1. It's been over a week of silence on my end and escalating chaos on hers. I saw a lawyer, Cheryl, on Thursday. She's a sharp, no-nonsense woman who told me the divorce would be straightforward since the house is a pre-marital asset and we have no children. Her best piece of advice? Unblock her number. Let her text you. Let her call and leave voicemails. Every unhinged message is another nail in her legal coffin. Document everything. Respond to nothing. So I did. The first frantic messages arrived 2 days after my call to Judith. It wasn't one clean explosion. It was a series of chaotic little meltdowns. Walter. Judith showed up at Kyle's apartment last night. She wasn't alone. She brought 2 enormous men with her. Movers, she called them. They looked like they could bench press the fridge. She changed the locks. She gave us 24 hours to get our things and get out. She said Kyle was violating the terms of the lease she pays for. This is her apartment. He never told me. The baseball bat was a metaphor after all, but the reality was somehow colder and more corporate. No screaming rage, just two impassive guys and a locksmith, a quiet, terrifyingly efficient eviction notice. Then the financial reality began to sink in for them, piece by piece. On Friday, Lauren texted again. Lauren, Kyle's card was just declined at the grocery store. He tried to buy organic kale and that expensive kombucha he likes. It was so embarrassing. Lauren, she must have canceled his cards. He's on the phone with the bank now, and he's actually yelling. So much for breathing through the negative energy. Then came the voicemails. I listened to them on speakerphone, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. Voicemail 1, panicked. Walter, pick up. She's serious. We have nowhere to go. You have to call her. Tell her she's overreacting. This is your fault. If you hadn't called her, we would have been fine. You've ruined everything. Voicemail 2, crying. He has nothing. I'm just finding this out now. The car we've been driving, it's a lease, in her name. We got a call from the dealership an hour ago, saying Judith had terminated the agreement and they're coming to pick it up tomorrow. Tomorrow, Walter, the entitlement was a thing to behold. It wasn't, I destroyed our marriage. It was, your actions have created logistical problems for my new life. Yesterday, Judith texted me. A single, concise message. Judith, they're out. The car is being retrieved. The process of severing his connection to the studio has begun. It will be messy. Thank you again for your integrity. My lawyer's name is David. Give his details to yours. Don't let her walk all over you. Lauren showed up at my work this morning, catching me in the parking garage. She looked haggard. The glow of her new life had faded fast. Walter, we have to talk, she said, her voice raspy. Lauren, Cheryl advised me not to speak with you directly. Don't hide behind a lawyer, she snapped before her face crumpled. I made a mistake, a huge one. He's not who I thought he was. He's impractical. Impractical is an interesting word for a freeloader, I said, my voice flat. You need to leave. But where am I supposed to go? She wailed, the tears coming onto you. Our stuff is in a storage unit we can't even afford. I have nowhere. That sounds like a problem for you and your twin flame to solve, I said, and walked away. It was hard. My heart was pounding, but it also felt like setting a bone that had been broken for a long time. Painful, but necessary. About an hour ago, another text. Lauren, can I just get some money? For a deposit on an apartment? Just a loan. For all the years I gave you. Don't I deserve a soft landing? I screenshotted it and emailed it to Cheryl with the subject line, Nail number 47. Update 2. It's been over a month now. The divorce proceedings are a slow, grinding machine, but they are moving forward. The past few weeks have been an education in the many flavors of desperation. First came the predictable attempts to manipulate our social circle. Our mutual friend Megan called me, fed a carefully edited story by Lauren about my aggressive overreaction and how I'd sixed a vengeful Judith on her and her spiritual partner. I calmly walked Megan through the timeline, including the verbatim twin flame text, and the fact that their entire lifestyle was funded by the woman they betrayed. There was a long, awkward pause. Oh, she said. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, Walter. She left. All of that out. The social fires were quickly extinguished. Then Lauren's tactics shifted. She tried feigned nostalgia. Lauren was walking past that little Italian place on 4th Street and remembered our 5th anniversary. I can still taste that tiramisu. I messed up so badly, Walter. I saw it for an attempt to find a crack in my resolve. It didn't make me angry. It just made me sad. The memory was real, but her use of it was hollow. I sent it to Cheryl, but the real escalation came last week. I got an alert from my credit card company. A charge for $1,500 from an online payment portal used for rental deposits. It was for a card Lauren was an authorized user on, one she was supposed to have destroyed 6 months ago when we were simplifying our finances. The process was infuriatingly real. I spent an hour on the phone with the fraud department, filling out a digital form, confirming my identity multiple times. It was a tedious, bureaucratic headache, but it was also the final piece of the puzzle. She had gone from entitled to criminal. Cheryl was ecstatic, in her stoic, lawyerly way. This is it, she said over the phone. This is the leverage we needed. Fraud is a serious accusation. Meanwhile, Kyle has been silent, but his world is publicly crumbling. Judith didn't just snap her fingers. She followed legal process. A for-lease sign went up in front of the yoga studio 2 weeks ago. I looked up the county records. The LLC that owned the property, Judith's LLC, had formally terminated the agreement, citing breach of contract. A friend told me he saw Kyle's picture on a community Facebook page with a post warning local businesses that he had a history of not paying his suppliers. Judith wasn't just taking back her money. She was methodically salting the earth of his professional reputation. This prompted Kyle to finally break his silence. He sent me an email. Subject: A path to healing. Walter, the energy between us all has become toxic. Lauren is suffering deeply due to the aggressive and uncharitable actions taken against her. Your decision to involve Judith was rash and has created a whirlwind of negative karma. Lauren is entitled to spousal support to maintain the lifestyle she was accustomed to. We are requesting an immediate transfer of $5,000 to cover her immediate needs. Refusing to provide this will only deepen the karmic debt you are incurring. This is not a threat, but a spiritual reality. Find your center. In peace, Kyle. I forwarded it directly to Her 2-word reply was, charming, ignored. Her official response via her own legal channels was, I'm told, a masterclass in polite, threatening legalese, reminding Kyle of the penalties for interfering in divorce proceedings and casually mentioning the pending fraud investigation against Lauren. The silence since then has been absolute. They are running out of moves. The consequences aren't a sudden flood, they're a slow, rising tide, and Lauren and Kyle are just now realizing they can't swim. Final update: it's over. The divorce was finalized last week. The final hearing was a 10-minute affair on Zoom. Lauren appeared from a dimly lit room with cheap-looking vertical blinds. She looked tired. Kyle was not present. The credit card fraud was the key. Faced with a formal police report and the bank's evidence, Lauren's lawyer advised her to take the deal Cheryl offered. She waived any and all claims to spousal support or any of my assets. In exchange, I agreed not to press criminal charges. She walked away with her personal belongings, which were still in the storage unit she could barely afford. I haven't heard from Kyle at all, but the small-town nature of our social media circles tells a story. He's working at a health food store, making smoothies. His own Instagram, once a shrine to his enlightened lifestyle, is now private. The final communication from Lauren came about a month ago, not as a text, but as a long, rambling voicemail left at 2 a.m. I listened to it once, dispassionately, as if analyzing a data set. Walter, I know you won't pick up. I can't do this, she slurred, clearly drunk. He's not the person I thought he was. He talks about manifesting abundance while I'm looking for loose change to do laundry. He expected me to get a job and support his spiritual journey. The dream is gone. It was all fake. I want to come home. I know I messed up, but wasn't some part of it good? Don't I get any credit for the good years? Please, Walter, I'll do anything. I'm so sorry. I saved the voicemail, then deleted it. It was the sound of someone hitting a bottom they had dug for themselves. Her very last move was a 10-page letter sent to my office, a final, desperate monologue of blame. She blamed Kyle, Judith, her parents, her unfulfilling job, and most of all, me. My stability had been stifling. My pragmatism was a cage for her soul. My calling Judith was a vindictive, calculated act of war. The last line, I know you think you've won. I hope you enjoy your organized beige life, but you'll always know. You threw away a woman with passion for a spreadsheet. I read it, then put it through the office shredder, piece by piece. It wasn't a victory. It was just disposal. As for me, I'm rebuilding. I won't lie and say I'm happy. That feels like a cheap, easy word. The betrayal left a scar. The whole legal process was exhausting and expensive, but it was necessary. Some days, a memory will ambush me, and that old familiar ache will return. But it's duller now. Alonghestan, I started seeing a therapist. She says I'm moving from the analysis phase to the feeling phase. It's uncomfortable. If I moved at, but it's timely reading in analysis phase. I'm moving with us, taught all the wall. I've reconnected with old friends. Our Friday board game nights are a small anchor in my week. And I adopted a dog, a scruffy terrier mix named Gus, who snores like a tiny chainsaw. Able to maid hard safely, the silence in the house is gone. Last month, a courier delivered a package. It was a bottle of absurdly expensive single malt scotch. The card on thick embossed paper was from Judith. It read, "To new beginnings. Lawyers are expensive, but peace of mind is priceless. Enjoy this. You earned it." My life may be a spreadsheet to Lauren, but I'm finally balancing the books. The bottom line is this: I'm solvent, I'm stable, and I'm free. And for now, that's more than enough.